Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So today is Sunday, 3rd of April 2022. We have already the initiates wearing the neck beads today. And according to Pancham, today is a very special day. Today is Matsya Jayanti, which means is the incarnation of Matsya Avatar. It's the anniversary of Matsya Avatar incarnation. So it's in the Pancham, but not in our Vaishnava calendar. Somehow I can see that. But as we know, 8.24, we read about Matsya Avatar incarnation. So it's a very special day that Maharaj is giving initiations today. So we welcome each one of you to this initiation ceremony here. Because of COVID restrictions, we don't have all the devotees that we usually have, because this temple hall is packed during initiation ceremony. But because of still we are in the end of this COVID, so hopefully we will have more devotees for the next initiation that we have here, or in a bigger place. So we are grateful to His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami, affectionately called as a walking monk, for being merciful and accepting to perform this initiation ceremony. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
We are grateful to Ananda Garanga for officiating in this program.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So two devotees are taking big steps in their spiritual journey. One is Diane Lakshmi. She's receiving her first initiation today. Advanced congratulations. And Ganapati Das Prabhu, who's the current treasurer of Iskcon Scarborough, he's been doing a fabulous job for the last few years, and we know the amount of effort that he's putting in to keep every penny safe. So he's been doing a fabulous job. So he's receiving his second initiation. A couple of years ago, he got his first initiation at the Toronto Rath Yatra in the island from Maharaj. So now he's ready for the second initiation, and Maharaj is graceful to give that initiation. So we seek the blessings of Gauranitai, Radha Gopi Vallabha, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, Lord Nrsimhadev Tulsi Maharani, and all our acharyas in our Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya, as well as the merciful Vaishnavas who have gathered here in order to successfully complete today's ceremony. So we specially beg for the blessings of Iskcon founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who's presiding over this ceremony and who's the anchor of all our spiritual lives. So the quick sequence of events of today's event is that we'll chant few mantras. We read the translation as well, so that we get into this mood of Krishna consciousness, and we will perform the Achaman, or the purificatory rites, followed by initiation speech by Maharaj, and then the initiation ceremony will commence first for the first initiate, Diane, followed by second initiation for Ganapati Prabhu, and we will guide you through the process as to offering obeisances to Prabhupada and Maharaj, etc. Then we'll have the fire sacrifice, which may take about 15 minutes or so. So with that, we will chant a couple of mantras to make sure that there are no hindrances for us to complete this important ceremony. So it's a very beautiful mantra. Tadeva Lagnam Sudinam Tadeva Tara Balam Chandra Balam Tadeva Lakshmi Pade Tadengri Smarami. And also we have a beautiful verse. Both of them have got the same meaning, which is from 8th canto, 23rd chapter, towards the end of Bali Maharaj's pastime. Mantrastas tantrastas chitram desakalara vastutava sarvam karoti nishchitram anu sankirtanam tava. There may be discrepancies with regard to time, place, paraphernalia, persons, etc. But when your holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. So we'll start off with that insurance policy so that in any case there is any inadvertent mistakes, it will be wiped out when we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerely. So we'll all chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So we'll chant, as we said, we'll chant few mantras before we get started from our scriptures for meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll chant one mantra from Bhagavad-Gita, one from Chaitanya Charitamrita, one from Srimad Bhagavatam. And because today is the appearance day of Matsya Avatar, we'll also chant the 11th verse of Jayadev Goswami's sloka on the Dasavatar, which combines all the 10 incarnations. So we'll start off with the famous mantra from the 5th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Bhoktaram yakya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sukritam sarva bhutanam yadva mam shantim richati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. We'll also chant a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is also one of the 4 verses that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted in front of Rath Yatra cart in Jagannath Puri, as well as it's in Vishnu Puran. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Krishna, who is the worshipable deity for all Brahmanical men, who's the well-wisher of cows and brahmanas, and who's always benefiting the whole world. I offer my repeated obeisances to the personality of Godhead known as Krishna and Govinda. So this is from Vishnu Puran especially, written by Parasar Muni, the father of Yasadev, who gave the definition of Bhagavan to Lord Krishna. And we'll also chant one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. We carefully selected this verse because the same verse is repeated twice in Srimad Bhagavatam, one by Queen Kunti to Lord Krishna and by Bhumi Devi to Lord Krishna as well. Nama Pankaja Nabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajam Grahe. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. And as I said, today's we'll also chant this verse from Dasavatar Stotram. It's actually the 12th verse. Vedan Uddarate Jagativate Bhulokamudbiprate Daityam Darete Balam Chalayate Chatrachayam Purvate Paulatsyam Jayate Halam Kalayate Karunya Matanvate Mlechan Muchete Dasakriti Krite Krishnaya Tubhyam Namaha. So all the 10 incarnations are here. So our initiates will worship our merciful incarnations of Lord Krishna, Matsya Avatar, Matsya Avatar, Kurma Avatar, Varaha Avatar, Narsimha Avatar, Vamana Avatar, Parashuram, Lord Rama, then we have Balaram, and then Lord Buddha, as well as Kalki Avatar. So please get the mercy from all of them before we get started. So we will start off by doing the Achaman, and before that, Maharaj, if it's okay, we'll do the Om Apavitra Pavitra Va. So this is a mantra from Garuda Puran that is quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas as well. So this is for internal purification. So if you can just repeat, will that be okay? You can repeat word by word. Is that okay? So we can wear the mask. Om Apavitraha Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gatopi Va Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Bhayantaraha Suchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. So the translation from Garuda Puran is whether pure or not, or having gone through all conditions of material life or not, if one remembers lotus-eyed Krishna, who's everywhere in this beautiful temple hall, so one who remembers lotus-eyed Krishna becomes externally and internally purified. So we're all purified. The first stage of purification is done. Now we'll do the Achaman before we get started off with the ceremony. So we will sip the water 3 times. So the process is take a spoon of water, put it into your right palm, wash it away from all the ingredients. Just wipe your palms together so that, just pour it and wipe your palms, that's it. Both palms, yeah. So now we'll take the water in your right palm. So these, technically if you want to do it right, the 3 fingers will touch each other. It's like the ears of the cow spread. 3 fingers together, the pinky and the thumb are slightly wider apart, and you have this nice depression here in your palm, and you put 1 drop of water, and you're just going to infuse the potency of Lord Krishna's name into the water. Nowhere else you're thinking, looking, and then you're going to sip it after you chant the mantra, name of Lord Krishna. So keep looking there and you chant after me. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Sip it without the sound. Okay. And then take a drop of water, wipe your palm away from all the ingredients, because our hands get contaminated when we touch the palm. Second time and then third time. 2 other mantras as well. Om
Om
Narayanaya
Narayanaya
Namaha.
Namaha.
Wipe your palm, and one last time. Om
Om
Madhavaya
Madhavaya
Namaha.
Namaha.
And wipe your palm again. Om Tat Vishnu O Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyati Surya Divi Vachakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagravagum Sasamindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So at this point in time, we'll invite His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami to speak to the initiates and to all of us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. I don't need a microphone, I guess. That's fine. Jai, thank you very much, all of you who have attended here today, and congratulations to the two devotees that are making those steps towards greater progress. Bhakti and Diane. Hare Krishna. So we would like to choose a verse from the Bhagavad-Gita and from the chapter 12 of Devotional Service, it's called. I don't think it's necessary for, there's not like millions of people here. Okay. Om Jnanam Tasya Jnanam Jana Shalakya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishwavaraya Vishwasnaya Vitale Sri Hari Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Varavani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Bhakti Janeshana. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, from chapter 12, we're looking at text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayaveshya Mano Yoimam Yukta Upasate Shradhaya Parayopitas Tene Yukta Tamamata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. Please repeat that. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
those who fix their minds
those who fix their minds
on my personal form
on my personal form
and are always engaged
and are always engaged
in worshiping me
in worshiping me
with great
with great
and transcendental faith
transcendental faith
are considered by me
are considered by me
to be most perfect.
to be most perfect.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In answer to Arjuna's question, Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and who worships him with faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. For one in such Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done for Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or reads books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks and prasadam, or goes to the marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Such action is in full samadhi. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Bol. This chapter is an important one because of the nature of the topic. It's called Devotional Service. It is one of the shorter chapters, but nevertheless significant. And the strong message here is let's get focused. Let's get fixed up. We have been catering to the mind for a long time, and it tends to drag us all over the place. The mind pushes, it pulls, it drags through the mud. Well, mud is actually good, but let's say industrial waste. And all over, every corner, it just takes us all over. It's hard for us to kind of get concrete. You know, when they put concrete, so they lay it down. When it's wet, water's added. After some time, it's supposed to actually get solid and hard. That's the time when you want to make sure no dog is walking over a cat, leaving footprints. Have you ever seen that? During the wet period, it wasn't quite ready to go. Sometimes even human person, and then they back off, right? So we want to make our Krishna consciousness solid, and that means, the technical term is solidification in bhakti, is samadhi. Samadhi means when there's no interruptions. There's no scope for mental speculation, no scope for anything outside of pure bhakti. We've got this book, we've got a fantastic Srimad Bhagavatam, which doesn't have any room for mundaneness. There's just no scope for it. You know? And so it's just a fixation on Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna's lotus feet also means a fixation on what the Guru has to say. You know? And the Guru has to say only what Krishna says. You can't start veering off and manufacturing your own philosophy. So for the devotees that take their second initiation, they're entering into a period of becoming a teacher, learning to become a teacher, a disseminator of the philosophy of Bhagavad, the Bhagavad school. You know? And Bhagavad refers to God, you know, the godly school. Prabhupada used to say, many times he said this, I see so many universities all over, but where is the university that teaches about the science of the soul or the science of the self? There isn't one around. Rare. It's rare to find. And yet there's so much to discuss on that matter. Somebody had asked Bhaktisiddhanta about this, you know, how you could publish something like practically daily on a spiritual subject matter. And, you know, I know, and he said, well, when you're actually talking about spirituality, there's such a larger range of things going on than in our mundane world. Here in this mundane world, I remember the first time I walked across Canada, I stayed in a motel with Dave Poirier, my support guy, and he was watching television, you know, the news, as we got in there, and I was taking a shower after, you know, 42, 45 kilometers walk. I was tired. So what's on the news, Dave said, oh, same old thing, you know, they don't have enough fish on the Atlantic provinces. And I don't know, I can't remember, I just remember, that one sticks out in my mind. People don't have work, this and that. So it's always the same history repeating itself in the material world, right? Whatever is being cast out there in the news and the headlines was there 10 years ago, was there 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Only the names are changing and the faces are changing. Otherwise, same old, right? So that's where the mind is going. When you're talking about the spiritual realm, it's always something new. This morning, I do a little journaling every day, and every day I write something for my blog, you know. And the one person who's editing it, she said, I don't know how you can do it every day. I said, well, I don't know how I can do it every day. Every day there's so many spiritual things going on. Well, magical moments, miracles happening here and there, interesting interactions with people, and there's always something fun and vibrant in spiritual life, you know, fresh, ever fresh. Yeah. So this is why when we say focus on the spirituality, we mean to actually say that there is no dearth, there is no lacking of anything on the spiritual realm. There's so much there. So for a person who's taking Brahminical initiation, it means he's entering really into Brahman, meaning the spiritual world. You know? And you know, we have two energies that we can talk about. Sometimes we break it up into three, sometimes we can put our Shashakti or Vividite, there's so many. But to keep it really simple, there's two energies, the spiritual one and the material one. And so when you become Brahminical, it just means you're dabbling, in the beginning you dabble with, and then you delve into spirituality, 100%, you know, and you become a disseminator. We should always look at what Krishna has to say at the end of the Gita. He's indicating that whatever Krishna and Arjuna have discussed together, it must be shared. It has to go out to other people, you know. Anybody who explores and goes over the conversation is doing puja, they're worshiping, not with paraphernalia, not with the chamra, not with the fan, not with the diya, not with the water, but you're worshiping with your intelligence. It's a deity in itself, the conversation. It's not an object, it's just kind of in the ether, the truth. The truth must be shared, right? How oftentimes do we find people are lying or being deceptive in what they have to say? Or let's say I make up a story, okay? And we go around the room. I tell my story to Diane. Diane tells it to him. You say it to Annapurna, and it keeps going around all the way. By the time it gets over here to Govinda, so what are you talking about? That's not the story I gave. Everybody wants to add something, individualize it or embellish it. They think they're embellishing it, but the core value gets lost. So when it comes to spiritual practices, the core value gets lost, the devotion gets lost. How many people have written on Bhagavad-Gita and have missed the boat? You know, how many have missed them? The boat is gone, too bad. You didn't get your ticket in time. You can't go to Center Island. The ferry's gone. Oh, but there's another one coming. No, we're closed for the day. Come back tomorrow. So get there on time, to be timely. This is another thing about a Brahmin. We were talking about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's written so many beautiful songs and paved the way for bhakti in the modern age. You know, he would always, whenever it was an appointment, he'd be there 1 hour ahead of time. You know, if it was, whether it was the doctor or whatever it was, he'd just be there ahead of time. So that's another Brahminical trait. So fixation is important, and the point that Prabhupada makes is on the person Krishna, not the shine of Krishna, not the effulgence or the aura of God, you know, but in God, the person. You know, when you got married, right?
Yeah.
Did someone marry you, the person, or did you say, "I'll marry that which is beyond you"? Because that's the phraseology. Those are the terms. Oh, it's beyond. You know, did you marry that which is over your head, or on the side, or between the legs? Where? Right? Who did she marry? You, the person, right? So this is a very important point to grasp: is that Krishna, the person, is speaking, and it is He who is to be adored directly, not beyond Him. There isn't anything beyond the person God. In fact, if you want to talk about Brahman, if you want to talk about Jyoti, it's coming from that form. You know, it's like the sun and it's casting its rays. So, I've had people sometimes tell me, you know, it's like psychic prayers. You know, I remember this one place says, "Oh, excuse me." So yes. I just had an image of you as you were walking. I believe that you were a priest in Atlantis hundreds of years ago. So you say those kind of things. Or you've got somebody who'll say, "Oh, I see your aura." So what color is it? Purple. Yeah. So we just want to get to the point. The point is Krishna. And what point of Krishna? The lotus feet. Why down there? Because we have to take a humble position. There's no point in coming Krishna like this. I appreciate what you're telling me, but I've got a few things to tell you. You know, with arrogance and ego. What's that?
$5 to put for you.
Yeah, sure. So many things. So people have very funny ideas about God. Really, strange ideas. One of the popular ones is, "Oh, the world's falling apart. Why are you doing this?" Well, why are you doing it? Why are you creating it? You know, Krishna said, "I gave you a choice to be good or bad, to follow Dharma, and you don't seem to be getting it. You know, following the, and I've given you a path and two ways to go, this way or that way. We call it Pravriti Marg or Nivritti. Pravriti means the path of sense enjoyment. Nivritti means the path of, you know, learning detachment. So people have got the wrong idea. They got the wrong idea. I have to tell you a funny story. That's Matsya Avatar, right?
Yeah.
So Matsya is the gigantic, enormous fish, right? So when I went to Suriname, anybody know where Suriname is? Okay, should be called Harinam one day. Suriname, it's right next to Guyana, right? And I went at least twice, maybe 3 times. The last time I went, the guy at the customs, he looks at my passport, he looks at me, looks at my passport, looks at me. And I have, my legal name is a Dutch name. It's Vis, V-I-S, which means fish. So he starts laughing. So you're a fish? And I said, well, yes, I probably was in a previous life. So we just had a good laugh, and people around were wondering, what are they laughing at? Okay, so people have got different interpretations, ideas about so many things, you know. So many things are misconstrued, and especially when it comes to God's words. We do it with each other. Let's go back to husband and wife. Isn't it common that we misunderstand each other? All the time. And we don't go for reflective listening. We just go, we put our interpretation. Oh yeah, honey, you just told me blah, blah, but that's not what I said. But that's what you did say. But that's not what I meant. And so people have, there's so much room for, navigating in different ways to travel, to go on a journey. But basically we're supposed to take the bhakti journey, which is again to go towards Krishna's lotus feet and just take a humble position. The position of going to Krishna's lotus feet is equated to the messages from the acharyas, what they are saying, And what is their message? Same message as Krishna, but we have to understand how it is different. Krishna is saying, surrender to me, okay? And he was the teacher of Bhagavad-Gita saying, surrender to me. And then we say, surrender to Krishna. If you surrender to me, you'll go to hell. But if I tell you to surrender to Krishna, then that's what you surrender to. You surrender to the surrender of Krishna. Yeah. So the verse is very powerful. It's very potent. And the idea is to engage in worship, which is a very big part of the bhakti tradition. I know people who are practically they worship trees or mountains, At least in their mind, they have this reverence, And so that's a good start, But we have to understand who put the trees there, who put the mountains there. We have to go to the source. Right. Yes, so a few things that Prabhupada mentions. What does the pure devotee do who's on the path of Brahmanicalism or the path of, just becoming a devotee through the approved channels, formal channels? What do they do? Sometimes they chant. Sometimes they listen, engage in shravana. Sometimes they hear or they read books. Reading books is the same as listening, isn't it? Then after listening to something that makes sense, what are you supposed to do with it? You're supposed to convey it through a mask or without a mask. Just get it out there somehow. Sometimes the person cooks prashadam. We don't just cook anything. We cook something which is offered to Krishna with love and devotion, as Krishna states. Patram pushpam phulam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti paritam ashnami prayatatmanam. Whatever you're offering, whether it's a leaf, flower, or fruit or water. By the way, we're going to be doing just that in a few minutes. We're going to be offering so many different things. A newcomer might come and say, oh, you're just wasting food. There's people starving all over the world. But we have to understand this is just a little token. And we're just giving back what Krishna has given to us. That's all. Krishna is giving us so many gifts all the time. And all we have to do is, harness it, and then, put ourselves into it, individualize it, and throw it back to him. But usually it's just a token. I remember when I was very young, it was Christmas, and I had a little money. I think I collected money from collecting pop bottles. We were collecting pennies. So it was Christmas time, and I bought some plastic roses from the store in Tilbury, Ontario, probably made in China, okay? And I brought them, and when I said, what are you doing with this? Because I was just a little kid, right? The people that were selling them. oh, I'm getting this for Christmas for my parents. And they go, oh. Now the thing is, the money wasn't really mine. You know, I think maybe my dad gave me something to buy a present for him, or, you know, at Christmas time. So, anyways, nothing belongs to us. Everything's given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? He's giving it all. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, it's all his. And we just have to be the nice, friendly person and get peace by offering it back. What do people always say? What do they say in business circles? Money is flying everywhere in the air. You just have to grab it. Do you know the story of Melody and Shamasunder on the West Coast? This is the couple started the Hare Krishna movement in San Francisco area. They didn't have any money. They didn't know how to pay the rent. And it was one Sunday morning, and there was a little bit of a breeze blowing. And the breeze had picked up some money. Someone just threw money out. And they just went, and devotees caught it everywhere. This is a true story. Can you believe it? Somebody was a little bit off or being generous, big-hearted. So it's true that money is everywhere. Just grab it. You have to know how to grab it, that's all. Similarly, mercy is everywhere. You just have to know how to grab it. And mercy is something that we don't really deserve. We didn't earn it. It's causeless, and it's a benefit that comes to us unearned. So that is Krishna's mercy. But it's not a bad idea to deliberately serve Krishna in the most humble way, and the best way to do that is by serving his devotees. In fact, that is our philosophy. Sometimes people may ask, do you believe in God? Because I'm always mistaken for being a Buddhist. All the time. Or Buddha? No, Krishna. Oh, okay, so you don't believe in God. No, we very much believe in God, yes. Very much, and everything should be channeled to God, you know. And the idea is about worshiping God, but, so that is your philosophy, worshiping God. No, it's about worshiping the devotee of God. That is our actual, you know, content and intent. It's to be respectful of the person who's on the path of bhakti. That is the person. That is who we worship first in line. In fact, Hare, we say Hare Krishna. We say that, don't we? Hare Krishna. Okay, and Hare comes first. Radha is first. Now we can say she's the divine energy of the Lord, but she is the personification of devotion, so she represents devotees. So we say her first, and then comes Krishna. Don't you dare go to Krishna without going through his devotee. That's what Shastra also has to say, you know. Somebody says, I am a devotee of Krishna. So no. Absolutely wrong. I'm a devotee of 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 a devotee. Okay, great. That would be a great song, right? A rap of a devotee of a devotee. So it gets better as time goes on. The more you are humble towards someone who is a devotee of the Lord, who's humble towards the devotee of the Lord, you know, it just gets better, it gets sweeter in the approach. Okay, I think we can easily apply a Chincha-Veda Deva Tattva here. Yes, we do worship Krishna, but we do it via medium that's serving the Lord's representative. So that's the idea. Here's what we mean by giving it all to Krishna. Let's continue on with our list. Prabhupada's very practical in this paragraph. It's short, it's just one paragraph. But in it, he's telling you what you're supposed to do as a devotee. He chants, he hears or reads books about it, he cooks prasadam, goes to the marketplace. You know, you go to a superstore, no frills or whatever you do, and you buy things for Krishna. Or you wash the dishes, Prabhupada says dishes. When someone says, I'm going to wash the dishes, we have a Cameron, he's from Australia, I'm going to wash the dishes. And I say, no, it's not dishes, it's pots. Oh, yeah. Okay, right, so it's something more substantial, okay? Whether it's dishes or pots, it doesn't matter. Whatever he or she does, whatever is not, whatever they do, there's not a single moment that passes without devoting his activities to Krishna. Connect it all to him, because it's all his. And I was in a place called Jackson, California. I was just finishing my walk across the U.S. And we had a nice kirtan in the park. Quite a few people came. And when it was over, one of the homeless people came and he said, so you're walking across the U.S.? I said, well, yes. While you were walking, did you see God?
There's a lot of people.
And I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I see God through the elements. I see God through the trees. I see God through you. And I go, I'm trying, I'm trying. And sometimes when you're trying, it actually works. Although we found out lately when people say, I'll try to be there, usually that means they won't be there. Is that right? Oh, I'll try to be there, Maharaj. You mean you won't be there? Well, I'll try to be there. You mean you're not going to be there. Most likely you're not going to be there. Yeah, that's right, Maharaj. Okay, so samadhi is where we want to go with this. And it starts with baby steps on the path of nibbidity and the path of less sense gratification. Thank you. And we're almost finished then. So, Prabhupada oftentimes used the example that everything belongs to Krishna and everything is to be used in his service. Just like this microphone, we would talk about the microphone. And the microphone is an instrument to be used in his service, right? And many people use microphones and they use it for profanities, right? I personally get really disgusted with certain four-letter words. I hate it too. And it's so commonplace in society. And that's not serving God. That's just not serving God. Lotus fingers. Hare Krishna. Okay, now that we've got it here, we're almost finished. But we like to say something about how it's important to take this second step for the Brahminical initiation, because you're now going to be responsible for helping more people in the philosophical way. You have an obligation to be a teacher. Please don't just be a pujari. Please don't just swirl incense in the air, although that's important. We can do better. And I think it's always a good idea that devotees are a little bit inclined in the Brahminical line that they take some courses in just counseling, help people in their lives. And someone's kind of solid like yourself, grounded. It'd be good to learn how to counsel to people, because people are going to come to us. They do that for you all the time. And they'll say, oh, our marriage is falling apart, or this, whatever it is, Or, somebody's a teenager, or somebody goes, my son's doing this and that, taking drugs. And my daughter is pregnant and she's 16 years old, blah, 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 whatever it is. These are like real serious issues that happen in our lives. And you think it's not going to happen, and, in our community, it happens everywhere, yeah. So it's good to, this would be my request to you personally, is to take some courses in counseling, how to help people, okay? And then we need that like anything, because devotees, like anybody else, they suffer, and people sometimes with mental conditions, they go through depressions and all of those kind of things. And people have addictions also. We have devotees that have pornographic addictions, yes. And that they need help. They need help. So being confidential is really important in this field. So for Diane, you are now going to take first initiation, and that simply means that you are committing yourself to the path of bhakti, and particularly in the way that it's been presented to us by His Divine Grace H.H.Bhaktimarga Swami Prabhupada. So I'm going to give you Diksha today, but Prabhupada is our main guru. You know, we kind of follow his guidelines. We're reading his books. We're on his track. You know? And we had a real nice discussion this morning from the 11th canto of the Bhagavad-Gita. A lot of people say, I just have one guru. And you know, this is something that came out of the 24 guru segment of the Bhagavad-Gita. And the arguments are coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami and Sridhar Swami, that yes, there may be one guru, but then at the same time, that one guru will quote from many gurus. So that means you have many gurus in your life. You know? Prabhupada quoted from Gandhi, he quoted from Jesus, Chanakya Pandit, you know, as if to say they all have something to contribute. It may not mean that they're all on the same line, but the point is that you are taking wisdom from many different directions, from many different places, you know.
Insects and birds.
Yeah, birds and the bees and the dog, you know. Our dog used to go and pick up the paper, you know, the paper, the days of newspapers. Do you remember those days? Newspapers? Not so long ago. It would all be rolled up with newsprint around it. We didn't have plastic. It was newsprint. We were much more, let's say, savvy with the earth. So the newspaper guy would come and throw the newspaper, and our dog would and deliver it to our hands. So it showed so much loyalty and attitude of service. So we should learn as devotees that there's a lot to be, let's say, gained from observing all around. You know? And there was even an example of a prostitute. We can learn from Pingala, the prostitute. So for the first initiation, Prabhupada used to call it the Harinama Initiation. It's when the holy name is given, and of course it's not a secret mantra, it's a mantra that applies to all, and it's for everyone's purification. But the initiate takes it to heart and makes it one's lifeline. You know, this chanting, it's the lifeline. It is our very oxygen, this Maha Mantra. And while chanting, we try to avoid 10 offenses. Prabhupada used to speak about 10 offenses. But one at the top of the list is being critical of other devotees. You know? So I would recommend you don't look at what's online. Because there's people out there very critical and they claim to be, you know, some kind of authority. And if you know anything about their lifestyle, they got nothing to do. Usually they're on welfare. Not that there are legitimate people, don't get me wrong. They've got all this time to and just you know, to throw the serpents out in every direction, as if I am the latest avatar. Yeah. So we want to avoid these 10 offenses, and because we're being initiated into the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we have 7 purposes that we can look at. 7 purposes of the practitioner that Prabhupada have written down, so that we can appreciate, like, what am I embracing? What am I really taking to heart? That's very important. So, just to reiterate the point, Prabhupada is our principal guru. When we say Sanstapakacharya, and we say that long list, Jayam Vishnupad, Paramam, Sapri, Parajikacharya, Suttara, Suttara, Divine Grace, H.H.Bhaktimarga Swami Prabhupada. We're giving him a lot of praise, and we're indicating that he's the founder, Acharya, of this Hare Krishna movement. So he heads it up, and for that reason, we remember him. And if we put too much attention to, like, say, a singular guru, and not recognizing other people around, then we will become little islands unto ourselves. And we will lose the family dynamic, the Iskcon family dynamic. It's very important. And as devotees who are initiated, we certainly want to disengage in gossip and speak ill of others. It's just a bad habit. We don't need loose-tongued monsters. There's enough monsters out there, and we don't need any more. So those are just some guidelines. Wherever you're entering into Iskcon, it's a house that Prabhupada built in which the whole world could live. It's a roof, it's a shelter, and so we have certain, let's say, rules to follow, house rules. That's all we have to do. And we call that Vaidhi Bhakti, when you follow rules and regulations and you just become obedient. But eventually, after some time, the rules are no longer rules, meaning that whatever you do that was routine now becomes something we love. It's second nature. I love to get up in the morning. Yay! I get to chant Hare Krishna. I get to take a shower. I get to serve the Lord and all these people. That's the kind of spirit one of optimism. Vaishnavas are optimistic and they're not cynical. It's a sin to be cynical. I think that you can remember that. It's a sin to be cynical. Like if you're cynical, you're in the wrong place. Go for a swim with the sharks. You might feel. And those guys can be really nice guys also. What is it Chanakyapada talks about? Like two kinds of venomous creatures. There are the snakes, and then there's something called a human being. And out of the two, humans are really something. That's all I can say, right? That's all I can say. A snake can be charmed by sound, or at least by movement. And the snake will just kind of get mesmerized. But it doesn't matter what you wave in the air for a human being. They'll take everything the wrong way. What you did? I remember when I was walking Ireland, everyone has a different way of greeting you. And I remember one guy, he was in a truck, and I just kind of waved him, and he goes,
Oh my goodness.
and I found out later on, that means, how's it going? I thought I was saying, get out of town. But no, it was just it's just different protocol, different way of dealing with things. So it's good to be informed. Okay, so we're asking everyone who takes these steps not to be fanatical and not to be gossipy and to just be a real whole human being. As Krishna is whole, he's a person because he's whole. But a lot of people want to say there's a whole, God's a whole. There's no person there. When I say whole as in holism, that's W-H-O-L-E, that kind of whole, complete. Purnam, complete, and perfect, perfect. And we should not question Krishna's, imperfections. There aren't any. But it's our imperfectness that tries to, see some holes in Krishna, as if someone took a rifle or a trigger and put holes in his body. Well, even if they aren't able to do that, he's still walking. I remember when I was a kid, there was a series, I think it was Gunsmoke. And there was one guy coming out, sort of like the sort of evil guy in town coming like this. Somebody's shot, took a bolt, and he just kept coming. He had so many bullets, he was unstoppable. Then finally, the one that was supposed to get at his heart, the bullet went to his heart. It actually pierced here, and in his pocket he had a Bible. So it didn't get his heart. Interesting impressions. Okay, so the thing is, let us get pure, let us get clean. We have 4 regular principles that we follow, and we chant 16 rounds every day. This is what Prabhupada has given us to keep us kind of clean, and then we can forge ahead in our devotional lives, because spiritual life is all about getting clean, getting rid of the clutter. Right? So thank you very much. We're going to proceed because some of us have to go to Hamilton for an event there to do some more chanting. Okay, and I guess we can go on with the next part of the program.
Yes.
You can let us know. done. Thank you. Blessings should come from everyone here. You can put your hands up if you like. Bless these devotees, and some good vibrations will come their way. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So we'll move along with the next part of the ceremony, which is the most important part. We're all waiting for that. So we'll commence with the initiation ceremony. So we'll start out with Diane Lakshmi, who will be taking the first initiation. So you will come this way, offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who will be to your left, and then you'll come behind Maharaj and offer obeisances to Maharaj, and then you'll come and sit down there, and then Maharaj will speak to you.
And in the meantime, should we have a little quick kirtan? Is it possible to let something run for about a minute?
Yes.
So you can take your time. It's hard, isn't it, to get up and keep everything together? Yeah, she was.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Ask Diane, what are the 4 regular principles that you agreed to follow?
No book eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, chanting one day 16 times or more, 60 rounds or more, and read Srila Prabhupada's books.
And read Prabhupada's books. Okay,
And
that's a
bless
little
me.
more than I asked.
And bless me, Guru Maharaj, so that I can continue my spiritual journey. Thank you so much for accepting me.
Well, we haven't done it yet. But just about to. So thank you very much. And you're right, we need to just take shelter of Prabhupada's, material, his books, and we'll be okay. And stay in good company and keep busy in devotional service. Don't leave any space for Maya to set in. Just keep the door closed on Maya. Right? Don't even let a crack come in so that you can put your lotus toe in there. Open up the door eventually. Keep it closed. Okay, so these are the beads we chanted on, and so we will give you the name of Damayanti Devi Dasi.
Wonderful. Not sure if everybody heard that. Damayanti Devi Dasi ki.
Jai.
Usually there's a drum roll at this time, but that's okay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So-
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this community of Scarborough. We have, it's a vibrant community. We have such wonderful luminaries here. They've been with us for so long, and Ganapati, as was mentioned. And, stick by us, and we want to grow. We want to have a nice big facility for Sunday school, and where we can have at least 1,000 people coming together. And we need to build on that. It's very, to service this area is Okay, thank you. Well, thank you.
So now we'll have Ganapati Das Prabhu will offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, to Maharaj, and then Maharaj will offer, give you the second initiation.
If you can give it in. Here, I'll just hold on. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, we're just
Okay,
going to,
so-
we'll give you the Gayatri mantras after the.
So Maharaj will give the mantra later on. Okay, so we can get.
I think you're okay with that. Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So now both of you will be offering a barley and black sesame. There's some ghee mixed with that. So if you can offer it, try to offer it with your ring finger, middle finger, and your thumb with your palm facing down, like this. And then offer it right into the Agni. You can take off the pineapple. Pineapple is something that brings in the ambience for the Lord to come, as well as it's only fruit that is like got a crown. You know, just like us, we have rough outside, we're all sweet inside, and it always, teaches us to stand straight, stand up all the time. So you also have 9 grains that you can offer into the Agni as well. And some tulasi is also there, you will be offering, and we have sacred wood, these are mango wood that will be offered inside as well. And we'll do the Panchopachara, which is 5 offerings to Agni. Why Agni? Because Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, not once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times that he is Agni. And that's why we have this Agni that is instituted by Srila Prabhupada during initiations and marriages. So we will be doing that as well. So 5 plus 1, 6 times in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna and Arjuna once says that he's Agni. And twice in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, Maharaj mentioned about the 11th canto, and 11th canto, 16th chapter. Krishna also repeats many of the verses or the contents from Bhagavad Gita there. So again he says twice that he is Agni. So we will chant the Agni Suktam before we actually start the process of offering the grains into the Agni. So we will chant the Agni Suktam. This is the first 9 verses of the Rig Veda, which is important that we chant that. Om Agnimi Ile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ridvijam Odaharam Ratnadatamam Agnif Purve Birirshi Piridyo Nutanairuta Sadevang Eha Vakshati Agnina Rahimashnavat Poshameva Dive Dive Yasasam Veeravattamam Agneyan Ejnamadvaram Vishvataf Pariburasi Sa Iddeveshu Gacchati Agnirhota Kavikratu Satyaschitra Shavastamaha Devo Deve Viragamat Yadangadashu Setvam Agne Padran Karishyasi Tavetat Satyamangiraha Upatvagne Dive Dive Dosha Avasta Diyavayam Namo Paranta Emasi Rajan Tamatvarana Am Gopa Mritasya Didi Vimvardamanam Svedame Sanah Pite Vasu Navagne Supayano Bhava Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chandrama Manaso Jatah Chakshu Suryo Ajayata Mukhadindrascha Agnischa Pranat Vayurajayata. Om
तद्विष्णु ओम परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूर्यः दिविव चक्षुरादतं तद्विप्रासो विपन्यवो जागृवागं सस्समिन्दते विष्णोर्यत् परमं पदम्. प्राणाय स्वाहा अपानाय स्वाहा व्यानाय स्वाहा उदानाय स्वाहा समानाय स्वाहा ब्रह्मणे स्वाहा. Vimshati Kashtika Homa, so offering 20 sticks of tulasi. It is said in Hari Bhakti Vilas, this is equivalent to doing 100 Agni Stoma Yagya. So we'll kindly ask Maharaj to offer the 20 sticks of tulasi into the Agni. Slam dunk. Okay, so we are almost ready to get started with the yajna. So you can come closer a little bit. So when you hear the word swaha, we will offer. So anytime we touch our hair or any part of the face, we will take a couple of drops of water and wipe it off away from all the ingredients. So
We should open the background. Your thumb
Yes,
in the background. This
Mine
feels
is-
soft in the back.
okay, so we'll hear the word again. We'll wipe it. So you can err in the side of caution by washing your palms more often. Okay. Om. We'll do the Yasta Samasta Mahavritti Homa first. So the 4 mantras, we'll chant the Swaha and then we'll chant our mantras. Om Bhur Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama. Om Bhuah Swaha Idam Achyutaya Idam Namama. Om Swaswaha Idam Narayanaya Idam Namama. Om Bhur Swaha Idam Anantaya Idam Namama. So now we'll start the Pradhana Homa, which is the main Homa for today. So you have, you can offer black sesame and barley. Sometimes you can take the 9 grains. So you have, so you need to exchange one. So you should have 3 distinct things with you. Should not touch this. I don't want it to get involved. So we'll start off by chanting the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Swaha. So now all of you can also chant. These are all auspicious mantras that we know. So you can chant, I'll chant word by word if you can chant, and then Swaha. Om, we go a little bit faster. Okay? Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha. Shri Chaitanya Mamabhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dada Tisva Padantikam Swaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun
वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च स्वाहा. So both of you will chant this.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktimarga Swami'S Iti Namine Swaha Idam Dikshapurve Idam Namachati.
Okay, we can continue again. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami'S Iti Namine Swaha. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Acharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschyata Jasatarine Swaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Swaha. Shri Varsha Vanavi Devi Dai Kaya Kripataye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namava Namaha Swaha. Madhur Yoshvala Prematya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namo Sute Swaha. Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Swaha. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Shakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambode Padambujayate Namaha Swaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Swaha. Gaur Avirbhava, little louder please. Gaur Avirbhava, Bhumespam, Nirdeshta, Sajjana Priya, Vaishnava, Sarvabhauma, Shri Jagannathaya, Te Namaha, Swaha. Vancha, Kalpa, Tarubhyascha, Kripa, Sindhubhya, Evacha, Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Swaha. Namo Mahamadanyaya, Krishna Prema, Pradayate, Krishnaya, Krishna Chaitanya Namine, Gaurapishe, Namah, Swaha. Panchatattvatmakam, Krishnam, Bhakta, Rupa, Swarupakam, Bhakta, Vataram, Bhakta, Pyam, Namami, Bhakta, Shaktikam, Swaha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute, Swaha. Jayatam, Suratau, Pangur, Mama, Manda, Mater, Kati, Matsarvasta, Madam Bojo, Radha, Madam Mohano, Swaha. Divya, Vrinda, Ranya, Kalpadrumada, Srimad, Ratnagara, Simhasana, Stau, Srimad, Radha, Sheila, Govinda, Devo, Krishyalivihi, Sevadmano, Smarami, Swaha. Shriman, Rasa Rasa, Rambi, Vamshi, Padar, Tatar, Siddhar, Harshan, Venu, Swanir, Gopi, Gopinata, Shriyestunaha, Swaha, Tapta, Kanchana, Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu, Sure Devi, Pranamami, Haripriye, Swaha, Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu, Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Swaha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. So we chant the three more Hare Krishna mantra all together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. So we chant 5 more Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the welfare of humanity at large as well on behalf of all of you. That's your offering. So we'll continue to chant 5 more Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha. So one concluding mantra is the Prayashchitta mantra for any of the mistakes that we may have committed in our pronunciation or inadvertently anything that we may have made mistakes at. So we will chant this mantra. Om Prajapate Vishnu Natvat Ethananyo Vishwa Jatani Parita Babuva Yat Kamaste Juhumas Tatno Ashtu Vayam Shamapatayora Hina Swaha. So for any of the mispronunciations, so this is another forgiveness mantra. Yat Dakshara Pada Prishtam Matra Hinam Tu Ye Bhavet Tat Sarvam Sham Yatam Deva Narayana Namostute Visharga Bindu Matrani Pada Padakshareshtu Cha Nyuna Tiviktam Yat Kinchi Tape Pipe Rudirayet Swaha. So the translation is important. O Lord Narayana, whatever mistakes we may have made in pronunciation, mispronouncing syllables, neglecting the meter and beat, dropping the various grammatical forms, elongating or shortening the vowels, please forgive us for all of that and accept it as complete. Okay, so we will now do the Purnahuti, so this is the concluding part. If we can all stand up and then offer the remaining ingredients that we have.
I'd like to thank Mahadeva Annapurna on the kirtan and Mridanga.
Nari, bravo. Nari.
Nari, okay, Nari. Hare Krishna. So we just finished doing a ceremony to honor first and second initiated devotees. And that is Ganapati Prabhu. We got their second initiation today. Hare Krishna. And Diane, aka Damayanti Devi Dasi, she got her first. So thank you very much for coming forward. Come on over a little bit more. There seems to be a big cramming dynamic back there. So we'll spread out a little bit. I understand the kirtan's happening now, is that right?
All right, are you going to be singing?
Well, I'm supposed to be helping him with his guy.
Oh,
That'll
okay.
take a few minutes.
So,
So somebody, you can continue. They're doing a good job, aren't they? And so I was noticing some of you have real incredible potential as dancers. So we would like to ask some of you to volunteer. Give me your
can you
names.
guys please come up in front, occupy this place, sorry.
Okay. We would like you to volunteer your names if you're dancing inclined, so that we can do some lessons for when it comes to the Rath Yatra in the summer. We can do something nice. I'm talking about the main one on Main Street, which is Krishna given to us this year. So step forward. I know that some of you are really good, very inclined, and of course Prabhuji here. We have to have him somewhere in the front, you know. And Mataji over here, so we need you as a dancer. We need some dance groups for the Rath Yatra. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll be out for a few minutes and I'll join you for the kirtan. Some of us are going to Hamilton. We're going to leave well before 1 o'clock. We have a kirtan that's going on over there, and we're spreading Christian consciousness everywhere. Thank you so much, Ananda Gurunga, for being the officiator of the kirtan. Thank you. You got the back of my head. I don't think that's good. Again, thank you very much, and more kirtan, more happiness, more joy. I mean, what more do you want? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Come on. Somebody help with the mic. Who's your technical guy here? There should be one official guy, always running around being the gopher, setting up the mics. You know, giving just have to get him back here. Right after your base.
Hari.
Okay, enjoy the kirtan. I'll be back.
Hare Krishna. Congratulations to our devotees, to our initiative. So time to sing. Let's all
all sing together. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Hare Namaste, now let's sing Hare
Untitled H.H.Bhaktimarga Swami'S Devotional Service Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Anantikoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Praise the Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Radha Gopi Gopinath ki Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Mathura Dham ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham ki Jai. गंगा माने की जय, यमुना माने की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपी बल्लभ की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन की जय, नरसिंह भगवान की जय, लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschata. Hare Krishna devotees. Once again, I would like to say congratulations to the initiates, Ganapati Das and Damayanti Devi Das, for taking a step forward. My heartfelt thank you to our two kirtaners, Prabhu and Mataji. Please say your name. I'm not sure.
Mahadeva.
Thank you so much to make our program more successful. Thank you. Come again. Thank you to all the devotees who bring Goga for the Lord today. Our feast today is also sponsored by Ganapati Das and Damayanti Devi Das, so a round of applause for them. We're going to stay on today on night because Maharaj has to leave soon and he will have to take Prashadam before he left. So, a reminder about our Sunday school that's online is going to be starting soon. If you have any kids from the age of 3 to 16, please see one of us. We're going to do online classes starting anytime soon. Thanks to the pujaris and thank you all for coming here to make this program successful. Remember our program going on every Sunday starting from 10:30 to approximately 1 o'clock. I'm looking forward to see all of you. We are still giving prashadam in take-out containers because we have a big crowd. As you see, we need a big space for the temple. I can't even control this. I'm working so hard. I need some people to join our fundraising team here because we have to get a bigger temple. So, as you're leaving out the door, after prashadam prayers and you're leaving out the door, you will be taking your prashadam before you go. And I will leave the fruits in front of the door there, so you will take one of these fruits also. So once again, thank you all for coming and making our program successful. Looking forward to see you all again next Sunday. Hare Krishna. Oh yes. So the initiates are actually supposed to be asking for Guru Daksha. So they will go around now and they will ask before we start our Prashadam. In the meantime, I'll get Mataji to say Prashadam.
Prashade Govinde Namo Brahmani Vaishnavi Swalpa Punyaya Vatam Rajan Vishwasa Naiva Jayate Sarire Avidyajal Jodindre Rahe Kal Jiva Pehle Vishaya Sagore Tara Madhi Jivati Moy Sudarmati Sake Veta Katina Samsare Krishna Garodai Moy Tori Bare Jiva Jai Swat Prasada Anna Dilobai Se Annam Rutapao Radha Krishna Gunagavo Prema Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha Mahaprasadam ki, Shri Jagannath Shri बलदेव श्री सुभद्रमैया महाप्रसादम की, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव महाप्रसादम की, श्री गौरनिताय महाप्रसादम की. The Gaur Siddharth Vimanandi.
Maharaj is going to come in and sit.
Dandavat pranams.
Leave those to plant. No, this one is fruit. One is fruit. You can take some fruits. I give Anga one to take. I give him.